The galaxy had always known Earth as a noisy, vibrant little world. Its signals crackled across the stars, broadcasting songs, science, and laughter. Aliens laughed at humans, called them fragile, chaotic, unpredictable. Some feared them a little. Some admired them quietly, but everyone watched Earth. Everyone expected them to talk, to fight, to beg. Then, one day, Earth went completely silent. No signals, no light pulses, no transmissions, nothing. Alien fleets stopped in orbit, confused. The Centauri commanders whispered, their long tentacles trembling. "Where are their broadcasts?" they asked. "Why do they not answer?" Even the Drakari, known across the galaxy as merciless hunters, felt an uneasy pause. They had never seen a species simply disappear from the grid. The human cities, however, did not panic. In New York, people looked up at the sky. In the deserts of Australia, children ran freely, smiling, unaware of the tension above. Soldiers stood in lines on every continent, their faces calm, not tense. Scientists peered at the stars through telescopes and satellites, as if they were listening to some secret only they could hear. Earth had not gone dark to hide. It had gone dark to prepare. Alien scouts sent messages. "Identify yourselves. Respond immediately, or we will assume hostility." But Earth did not answer. The silence was not emptiness. It was purpose. Families huddled together at night, holding hands in parks and squares. Lovers whispered quietly. Humans, for the first time in history, had stopped to act as one. The quiet was not fear. It was strength, hidden under simplicity, hidden under patience. For centuries, humans had been underestimated. Their fleets were small. Their weapons were modest. Their technology, though clever, was thought weak by galactic standards. Yet Earth had changed silently, without announcement, without threat. And in that silence, the galaxy began to notice something different, something no one had predicted. Humans were no longer ordinary. They were calm. They were ready. And their quiet spoke louder than any scream. Across the solar system, alien observers scanned Earth. Cities glimmered with life. Satellites moved like clockwork. Even remote colonies on Mars and the Moon held perfectly synchronized activity. No panic, no chaos, only order, coordination, and quiet determination. "What are they doing?" asked a Velcor commander, his scales turning pale. "They are not preparing for war, but they are prepared." The words seemed impossible, even to the oldest galactic generals. How could a species that appeared so small, so fragile, hold such strength in a single silent moment? Back on Earth, humans gathered in their homes and streets, yet they were not waiting for an enemy. They were waiting for the moment they needed to stand together as one. Parents whispered lessons of courage to children. Teachers told stories of perseverance and unity. Every person felt the unspoken call of the planet itself. We are ready. We have changed. The galaxy watched, holding its breath. The usual chatter of alien fleets ceased. Even the war-hungry Drakari hesitated in the void. Earth's silence was not weakness. It was warning. And in that warning, there was a promise that no alien could ignore. Something had shifted, something fundamental, something irreversible. For hours, then days, the silence continued. And in the quiet, the humans of Earth were not idle. They were transforming. As a species, their minds focused, their hearts strengthened, and their courage ignited. The galaxy did not yet understand it, but the humans themselves did. In this silence, they had changed forever. And when the galaxy finally realized the truth, it would see that Earth had become something entirely new, something impossible to control, impossible to underestimate, and impossible to ignore. The first shock was coming. The first lesson was near. And the galaxy, for all its power and arrogance, had no idea what awaited them. Alien fleets hovered in orbit around Earth, their ships massive, cold, and precise. The Centauri, with their long tentacles and glowing eyes, communicated in vibrations that rattled the hulls of nearby ships. The Velquor murmured anxiously to each other, their scales shimmering with unease. Even the Drakari, who had conquered countless worlds without mercy, felt the weight of uncertainty pressing down on them. "Why do they not respond?" hissed a Velquor commander. His voice trembled, a rare show of fear among his species. "They do not call, they do not flee, they do not panic. What are they planning?" For the first time in galactic history, aliens had encountered a species that refused to react to intimidation. They expected chaos, screams, or surrender, but none came. The humans on Earth remained calm. They moved in small groups through streets, fields, and forests, yet every step seemed purposeful. Families held hands, children played in parks, and soldiers stood alert but relaxed. The humans were waiting, but no one knew for what. The alien fleets attempted communication again. Messages flashed across the void, demanding answers. Identify yourselves, state your intentions, respond, or face consequences. But the humans stayed silent. They did not scramble defenses, they did not hurl threats, they did not plead for mercy. They simply continued their quiet routines, eyes turned toward the sky. On the moon, observatories hummed with activity. Satellites adjusted their orbits. Scientists in hidden laboratories calculated trajectories, analyzed signals, and shared ideas at lightning speed. Earth was not hiding. Earth was organizing. And in this organization, the galaxy sensed a power that had gone unnoticed for centuries. The Centauri watched through high-powered sensors. They could see the humans' coordination, their small ships aligning in perfect formation, their planetary defenses moving with silent efficiency. The Velquor, usually proud and aggressive, began to whisper among themselves. "They are not afraid. They are not hiding. They are ready." The word seemed impossible. Ready for what? The galaxy had never met a species capable of holding such calm determination under pressure. Even the Drakari, who thrived on intimidation and fear, felt a cold shiver ripple through their ranks. Their ships hovered, weapons armed, but every instinct told them that Earth was no ordinary planet. It was alive in a new way. Every human heart, every mind, every action seemed to pulse with a silent, shared strength. Back on Earth, life appeared ordinary, but it was anything but. Children listened to stories of courage and history. Teachers reminded students of the strength of unity. Parents whispered words of hope and determination. Soldiers trained in perfect silence, honing skills, yet never showing aggression unless necessary. Across the globe, humans moved as one organism, connected by an invisible thread of purpose. The alien fleets continued their scans, desperate to understand, to predict, to control. They sent probes, mapping cities, analyzing power, grids detecting energy fluctuations. Every discovery left them more confused. Humans had no enormous weapons, no massive fleets, no destructive superstructures, yet their potential, their readiness, radiated through every system the aliens observed. "What is happening?" the Velquor commander hissed, more to himself than anyone else. "They are small, they are weak, and yet they command respect. How is this possible?" The Centauri murmured in agreement, their tentacles curling nervously. For the first time, they understood that strength in the galaxy was not measured by size or firepower alone. There was something more, something humans had discovered through centuries of struggle, survival, and cooperation. It was patience, courage, and unity. And then, as if sensing the galaxy's scrutiny, the humans on Earth did something subtle but undeniable. They raised their heads to the stars, stood taller, and in that moment the silence became louder than any weapon. The aliens could feel it, a quiet force that demanded acknowledgement. The humans were waiting, yes, but they were also signaling, "We are ready. We have changed. Watch carefully, for you will see what follows." The galaxy held its breath. The first lesson had not yet begun, but the tension was already unbearable. Something extraordinary was unfolding on Earth, and every alien species knew that they were witnessing a transformation that would challenge everything they thought they knew about the universe. The silence of Earth had become unbearable for the galaxy. Alien fleets circled cautiously, scanning every inch of the planet. The Drakari, confident and ruthless, decided it was time to test the humans. They sent a strike force toward a mining colony on Mars, one of Earth's remote outposts. Their massive warships unleashed energy beams, tearing through structures and setting alarms screaming across the colony. But Earth did not panic. No frantic signals were sent. No pleas for help filled the void. Instead, a quiet hum of readiness spread through the planet. Across the solar system, defense systems activated automatically. Satellites swarmed around the colony, forming protective shields. Hidden fleets of human ships emerged from secret hangars, their sleek forms moving. With precision, the Drakari were shocked. Their attack had been meant to intimidate, to show dominance. Instead, it revealed something terrifying. Humans were prepared far beyond what any alien had imagined. Their response was instant, coordinated, and overwhelming. Not through brute force alone, but through strategy, timing, and intelligence. On Earth, people watched the news feeds, not in panic, but with calm determination. Soldiers directed traffic, scientists monitored energy flows, families stayed together. Even the children, unaware of the danger, carried on, their laughter echoing through the city streets as if nothing had changed. Humans were no longer vulnerable. They were resolute. The Drakari fleet tried to escalate, firing more weapons, attempting to push the humans into submission. Yet every strike was countered. Defense satellites, intercepted energy beams. Human ships, small but fast, struck key systems with precise accuracy, and everywhere humans acted as one, silent, patient, and unyielding. A single broadcast then shot from Earth, reaching every alien observer in the YAW system. It was not a threat nor a demand. It was a statement. We did not go silent to hide. We went silent to prepare. We have changed, and we are ready for what comes. The words sent shivers through the alien fleets. They had never faced a species that could combine calm patience with absolute readiness. The humans were not loud or aggressive. They did not boast. They simply existed in a way that radiated power and certainty, and it terrified anyone who had tried to underestimate them. The Drakari commander's scales turned pale. His pride, built over countless conquests, had been shattered in a matter of minutes. His attacks had been anticipated, countered, and neutralized. He had assumed fear would rule Earth, that panic would spread, that weakness would be revealed. He had been wrong. The humans had transformed their fear into preparation, their anger into focus, and their silence into strength. Elsewhere in the galaxy, alien leaders watched in disbelief. The Velquor whispered urgently, "We have misjudged them. They are small, but they are unstoppable when united." The Centauri nodded, their eyes wide. Even the usually arrogant Drakari Council could not deny the lesson being broadcast from Earth. No one could underestimate humans again. Back on Earth, the world seemed calm, almost serene, even as fleets clashed and defenses hummed. People continued their daily lives. Teachers taught, parents nurtured, workers labored. The humans were ready for war, but they did not seek it. Their power lay not only in their technology, but in their hearts and minds, in their courage and unity. For the first time in galactic history, the aliens realized that Earth had become something extraordinary. It was no longer a small, chaotic planet. It was a species that had grown stronger, smarter, and braver, all in silence. And in that transformation, the galaxy understood a terrifying truth. Humans had changed in an instant, and that change would echo across the stars. The first shock had been delivered. The lesson was clear. Underestimate humans, and you would pay the price. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. The Drakari fleet, once proud and unyielding, drifted in orbit around Mars, unable to believe what was happening. Their attack had been meant to crush humans quickly, to show dominance. Instead, it had revealed something far more powerful than any weapon: the humans themselves. On Earth, humanity moved as one. Soldiers, engineers, and scientists worked together with perfect coordination. Hidden fleets of ships emerged from secret bases on the Moon and Mars, sleek and precise, their movements silent but deadly. Defense satellites activated automatically, forming a shield around every colony and city. Every human heart beat with the same determination. They would not be intimidated. They would not back down. Then, a single transmission flashed across the galaxy. It was not a threat. It was a message of clarity, calm, and purpose. We did not go silent to hide. We went silent to prepare. We have changed. And so must you, if you wish to survive. Alien commanders paused. Even the mighty Drakari could not ignore it. They had expected chaos, fear, maybe even surrender. Instead, they faced something completely new, a species that combined patience, intelligence, and courage into an unstoppable force. Humanity's strength was not in its size or its weapons. It was in its unity, its ability to act as one. Families on Earth held hands, looking to the skies with quiet resolve. Children continued to play in parks, unaware of the fleets above, yet their laughter seemed to echo the confidence of the planet itself. Scientists, engineers, and leaders coordinated with invisible threads, predicting every move, planning every response. Earth was alive, not just with people, but with purpose. The Centauri watched through high-powered sensors, their tentacles trembling. "They are not afraid," one whispered. "They are not hiding. They are ready." The words carried a new respect, tinged with fear. The galaxy had long underestimated humans, but now even the most arrogant species could see the truth. Humans had evolved. The Velcor whispered among themselves, their scales flickering nervously. They did not shout. They did not attack. And yet, we cannot ignore them. Their voices carried the realization that strength was not always measured by firepower. Sometimes it was patience, courage, and the quiet determination to stand. Together, even the Drakari, who thrived on fear and intimidation, found themselves reconsidering. Their pride had been shattered in hours. Every attack they attempted had been anticipated, countered, and nullified. The humans had turned their fear into preparation, their anger into strategy, and their silence into a force that could not be ignored. Back on Earth, people continued their daily lives. Teachers taught, parents guided, workers labored. There was no panic, no chaos, only focus, unity, and calm strength. The humans did not need to boast. Their actions spoke louder than any threat. Every planet, every fleet, every alien observer understood one undeniable truth. Humanity had revealed its true power, and it was unlike anything the galaxy had ever known. The first shock had been delivered. The lesson was clear. Underestimate humans and you would pay the price. But the most powerful part of this revelation was not violence or fear. It was morality. Humanity could have destroyed the Drakari in an instant, but it did not. Humans chose restraint. They chose to act with wisdom, not cruelty. They were not just powerful. They were just. Across the galaxy, species whispered stories of Earth. They shared data, compared notes, and realized that humanity had not simply grown stronger. Humans had changed the rules of the universe itself. They had proven that courage, unity, and intelligence could outmatch fear and power. And as Earth's people continued to watch the stars quietly, calm but ready, the galaxy began to understand something it had never known before. A small species could hold the weight of the universe in its hands, not through destruction, but through resolve, restraint, and unshakable determination. Humanity had revealed itself, and the galaxy would never forget. The galaxy was in chaos. Reports of Earth's silent strength spread like wildfire. Every fleet, every council, every ruler debated furiously. Some saw the humans as a threat that must be destroyed immediately. Others felt awe, admiration, and even fear. The Velcor demanded war. "We cannot allow this species to grow unchecked," their leaders hissed. The Drakari, pride-wounded, wanted revenge. Their generals prepared fleets eager to crush Earth once and for all. but humanity remained calm. Earth did not move aggressively. It did not fire the first shot, nor did it make demands. Instead, the humans sent one clear, unwavering message. Across the stars, the galaxy must choose. Violence will be met with certainty. Curiosity will be welcomed with understanding. The words reverberated through alien fleets. They did not just carry warning. They carried confidence, patience, and clarity. For the first time, the galaxy understood that humans had not only changed themselves, but they had also changed the rules of engagement. A small species, long underestimated, now set terms that even the most powerful civilizations could not ignore. The Centauri leaders studied the humans' movements carefully. Their long tentacles twitched nervously as they whispered among themselves. They do not attack. They do not flee. They are patient, and they are ready. The thought unsettled every alien species observing Earth. They had never faced a race that combined silence with strategy, patience with courage. Meanwhile, the Velcor grew restless. "We will strike," they muttered. "If we delay, they will grow even stronger. We cannot risk curiosity or peace." Yet even as they prepared, doubt crept in. Their scouts reported coordinated defenses, precise fleets, and civilian populations ready to resist if needed. Humanity had not merely built armies, they had built unity. And unity, the galaxy realized, was stronger than any single weapon. On Earth, humans did not boast. They watched the skies with quiet intensity, understanding the gravity of the moment. Leaders coordinated silently with scientists and soldiers. Families whispered courage to their children. Teachers reminded students that the universe was vast and dangerous, but humans had learned to face fear together. The Drakari commanders, usually so proud and merciless, felt their arrogance crumble. "They are not as fragile as we believed," one admitted. "Their strength is not in weapons, but in their hearts, in their minds, in their unity." Even as they prepared fleets of warships, they hesitated, realizing that any attack could be catastrophic. Humans had turned silence into strategy, restraint into power. Across distant stars, alien leaders debated. Some argued for diplomacy. "We can learn from them," said a Centauri elder. "They are clever, disciplined, united. Perhaps we should observe. Perhaps we should join." Others insisted on aggression. "They cannot be allowed to set terms. For the galaxy," the Velcor snapped. "We must act before they grow stronger." And so, the galaxy stood at a crossroads. Every species faced a choice: to wage war against Earth and risk annihilation, or to approach with curiosity and humility. The humans had created a moment that no alien could control, a test of wisdom and courage for every civilization that watched. On Earth, the people continued their lives. There was no panic, no fear, no chaos. Just quiet determination. They did not need to dominate the galaxy. They only needed to be ready. Their strength was in restraint, in moral courage, in the unshakable unity that had carried them through centuries of struggle. And as the alien fleets debated, as the galaxy trembled in awe and fear, humans waited patiently. They had delivered. Their first lesson: underestimating humanity was a mistake. The second lesson would follow, but it would not come from anger. It would come from the quiet, unyielding power of a species that had truly changed. The galaxy had to choose. And whatever it decided, Earth was ready. Back on Earth, life continued as if nothing had changed. Children played in parks, their laughter echoing across quiet streets. Parents guided their families with gentle words, and teachers reminded students of courage, unity, and hope. Yet the world was not the same. Every human heart carried a quiet awareness. They had become something greater. They had changed. In orbit, alien fleets paused. They watched, fascinated and uneasy. The humans did not attack, but they did not cower either. Their calm radiated strength. Every soldier, scientist, and citizen was part of a living, breathing organism, Earth itself. And that organism had learned patience, courage, and unity in ways the galaxy had never imagined. In New York, a father held his young daughter's hand. "Look at the stars," he whispered. "They are watching us, but we are ready. Remember this feeling, the courage to be calm, to stand together. This is who we are." The child looked up, her small eyes wide, sensing the quiet power in his voice. Across the world, millions of similar moments unfolded, each ordinary yet extraordinary, each small gesture building the strength of a species. The Velcor fleets had retreated slightly, uneasy and unsure. They could feel something in the humans that no weapon could measure. The Centauri, observing from distant planets, whispered among themselves, "They are not fragile. They are alive in a way we did not understand. Their strength is not in their ships or their weapons, but in their hearts." Even the Drakari, proud and ruthless, felt respect mingle with fear. For the first time, they understood that victory in the galaxy was not only about power, it was about spirit. On Earth, scientists monitored alien movements with quiet curiosity. They did not seek conflict, but they were ready to defend every home, every child, every dream. Cities hummed with energy, yet the energy was calm, controlled. People worked together as if the planet itself whispered instructions, and the planet somehow seemed to respond. Satellites moved in perfect formation. Fleets positioned themselves with silent efficiency. Humanity had transformed fear into preparation and doubt into courage. The moment was emotional, yet simple. It was not about destruction or conquest. It was about realization. Humans had discovered something the galaxy often overlooked. Courage was stronger than fear, unity stronger than chaos, patience stronger than impulse. Every citizen felt it. Every leader understood it. The planet breathed with it. And in that quiet, the galaxy began to feel it too. Aliens who had once laughed at Earth now watched with awe. They whispered across their fleets, across distant systems, "They are different, we cannot predict them, we cannot underestimate them." In that moment, humans had not only defended their world, they had taught the galaxy a lesson without firing a single destructive shot. On the surface, families gathered in parks to watch the night sky. Soldiers lowered their weapons, smiling, quietly at children's games. Scientists continued their work, yet every calculation, every experiment carried the silent wisdom of survival and unity. Teachers reminded students that true strength came from caring, from standing together, from being brave without being reckless. The humans had changed, and the change was visible. It was in the way they moved, in the way they spoke, in the way they thought, and the galaxy could see it. Even those who had intended harm paused, awed and shaken. Humans were no longer a species to fear or mock. They were a species to respect, to understand, and perhaps even to admire. The emotional moment was simple, yet profound. The humans had survived countless threats, yet this was not a victory over a single enemy. It was a victory over fear itself. And in that quiet triumph, the galaxy began to understand. Earth had changed, humanity had changed, and the universe would never be the same again. Earth was calm. Humans were ready, and the galaxy could feel the weight of their transformation. Earth went silent again, but this time the silence carried power. Alien fleets that had once circled warily slowly withdrew, retreating to their home systems. Stories of Earth's transformation spread across the galaxy, carried by scouts, messengers, and transmissions. Every civilization, from the Centauri to the Velcor, whispered in awe about the humans who had changed in an instant. "They are different now," said a Centauri elder. "We cannot fight them as before. We cannot underestimate them ever again." Even the Drakari, who had once prided themselves on fear and dominance, felt the weight of the lesson. Their arrogance had been shattered. For the first time, they recognized that strength was not measured by weapons or fleets alone. It was measured by heart, unity, courage, and wisdom. On Earth, humans continued their lives quietly. Families held each other close. Children played under the open sky, and teachers reminded their students of the value of courage and patience. Soldiers maintained readiness, but there was no aggression, only calm vigilance. Scientists and engineers worked together, not to conquer, but to understand, improve, and prepare for whatever might come. Humanity had proven it could survive anything. Not just attacks, but fear, doubt, and underestimation, and the galaxy noticed. Species that had once mocked humanity now studied them with curiosity. They sent envoys, researchers, and observers. They asked questions. They learned. Humans did not boast or demand worship. They offered knowledge and guidance to those who approached with respect. Earth had not only grown stronger, it had become a teacher. From the smallest asteroid colonies to the grandest alien capitals, the story of humanity spread like a quiet wildfire. Civilizations reconsidered their approach to power, strategy, and diplomacy. They understood that fear and destruction were not the only ways to rule or survive. Humanity had changed the rules of engagement across the galaxy simply by standing, united, calm, and determined. On Earth, people looked at the stars with wonder. Children pointed to the distant lights, imagining alien worlds and distant friends. Parents smiled, understanding that the universe had shifted because of them. Soldiers felt pride not in violence, but in restraint. Scientists marveled not only at the cosmos, but at the power of their species. Every citizen, in some small way, had contributed to the transformation that now echoed across the galaxy. The emotional weight of this moment was profound. Humanity had not conquered by fear, nor had it cowered in silence. They had stood together, silent but unshakable, and in doing so, they had taught the universe a lesson that would last generations. Courage is contagious, unity is unstoppable, and restraint is a form of power no one can ignore. The alien fleets finally withdrew, leaving Earth to its quiet life. But the lesson remained. Every species that had witnessed the humans knew they had changed the balance of the galaxy. Fear had shifted into respect. Doubt had transformed into admiration. And the humans, ever humble, simply continued their lives. For the first time in history, the galaxy saw Earth not as a fragile, chaotic planet, but as a beacon of strength, resilience, and moral courage. Humans had grown in an instant, yet their change was lasting. They had shown that even the smallest species could hold the universe's attention, not through terror, but through unity, intelligence, and heart. And so, Earth remained calm, watching the stars quietly. Humans had changed. The galaxy had changed. And in that quiet transformation, hope, respect, and possibility had spread across every corner of space. Earth had gone silent, and the galaxy, forever altered, knew that humanity would never again be underestimated.